going to start the recording of the camera, and as soon as we're ready to begin, I'll press recording the session. Mayor, whenever you're ready.
Ready?
Yep. I'm going to press record.
Good evening. My name is Mayor Joseph Altamonte. This is the May 5th, 2026 meeting of the Council of the Borough of Matawan, New Jersey. Pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publishing notification in the Asbury Park Press on January 10, 2026, by sending notice to the Star Ledger and by posting. A copy of said notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. A copy of said notice has also been sent to such members of the public as have requested such information in accordance with the statute. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Dina Gunn. Present. Councilperson Dan DeZayo.
Here.
Councilperson Arlen Filas.
Present.
Councilperson Suzanne Reynolds.
Here.
Councilperson Charles Ross.
Here.
Councilperson Megan Taraskowitz.
Here.
Mayor, you have a full quorum.
Thank you. Please stand for a salute to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Except for any first responders, please silence all cell phones. Council and members of the public, please speak directly and clearly into the microphone to properly record for the audio system. For privilege of the floor, each speaker shall be afforded 5 minutes to address the governing body. During the public comment period, members of the governing body shall not engage in dialogue, respond to questions, or interrupt speakers in order to ensure that each speaker is provided their full 5 minutes. The governing body shall withhold comments and responses until the conclusion of the privilege of the floor. At this time, privilege of the floor for agenda items only.
Loretta Windus, 138 Aberdeen Road. Good evening. With regard to Ordinance 2611, which is basically saying that the calendar year 2026 budget is going to be increased by up to 3.5%. What is driving this increase that we feel is needed in the budget?
We answer after.
Oh, okay. And then I did have one other question pertaining to Resolution 260504. This is regarding a grant from the state in the amount of about $5,000 to fund a project entitled Green Communities Community Forest Management Plan Development. So I was wondering, what is the goal of this project? Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Privilege of the floor for agenda items only? So noted. Motion to close privilege of the floor?
Motion, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passed.
Before I go on, I know that your question on the budget will be answered with the presentation, if that's okay? Or
And there will be an opportunity after the presentation to ask more questions as well. But it will address your question as well.
And Ryan,
the presentation.
can you just explain how that's part of the normal process?
Yeah, so as part of the normal process for the budget, ever since I've gotten here, we've done a formal presentation during the public hearing. We'll go over various different slides to address the drivers of the increases, savings, things that were accomplished last year, things that will be accomplished this year, And then, of course, we try to project some of the average impacts that the budget will have on the residents as well. So
And is that presentation tonight? Or
Correct.
it's tonight. Yeah.
Ryan, can you also address that it's just part of the normal process, this ordinance? We put it on every year. It's part of the procedural process?
Yeah, so we're required to do this ordinance as a way to adopt the budget. So it looks like this procedurally, but as soon as we get to the budget presentation, there'll be a full opportunity.
And as far as the resolution for the grant, do you want that answered now?
Oh, I can answer that now. Sure. That essentially will aid our shade tree in providing them funds to do the forest management and tree plan that they are working. So essentially, we're working to identify over the next, hopefully, 5 years, it will be at least a 5-year long project of identifying the trees within the borough, the natural trees within the borough, and this will actually go in hand with the NRI that the environmental committee is also doing, which will be a full environmental inventory. But this is just specifically for trees within the borough, public and private.
So would that address the fact that I believe the state just came out with a list of invasive plants and trees? So is that going to address potentially either eliminating those or through attrition over time, just making sure that nothing like that gets planted or is in or around the borough?
Sure. So it would definitely help us identify where some of those invasive species are. And then, of course, we can't, the state law doesn't allow for the removal of existing, but it prevents the installation or planting of future plants that are considered to be those invasive species. So it would help us at least say, hey, we did an inventory back in 2024, I'm just throwing out numbers, this species didn't exist then, you've since planted something, and perhaps then that would give us remedy to fine and potentially have them abate the problem. Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Good?
Yes.
Okay. For 2026 budget, ordinance 26-11, calendar year 2026, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limit and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A4-45.14. Can I have a motion to open the public session?
Mayor, motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passed.
Before I open it to the public, I'm going to have our borough administrator who's going to do a presentation.
Thank you, and I'm going to be joined by Nicole Schneeberger, our CFO. I don't know, Nicole, did you want to take that chair, and then we'll just do it? Yeah. All right. Yes.
You better roll.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor and members of the governing body. So this does not need really going over, but it's a listing of all the officials. And of course, these slides will be posted to the website after tonight. And then the introduced budget is already on the website on the finance page. So everyone can review it after this evening. But if you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to us. All right, highlights. So last year, since the beginning of last year, we've been the recipient or being awarded $1.6 million in grants. These grants range from a variety of projects, from road infrastructure, lakefront improvement, parking upgrades, public safety initiatives, recycling, and major infrastructure improvements. Largely, the largest grant was a $1 million award from the federal government for water infrastructure. So looking forward to those projects to help offset the costs for our residents. As residents may know, we got a grant. We got several grants for Clinton Street, over 3 of them, totaling $400,000. That allowed us to do Clinton Street in multiple phases, both an additional parking lot, and now, as you'll see, it's almost complete. There's a final punch list being worked on right now. ADA compliant sidewalk, new basketball courts, as well as pickleball courts and basketball courts that can also act as pickleball courts, and removable nets, and a new playground, and bench seating throughout, as well as we're addressing the building that's associated with Clinton Street Park, redoing the inside cosmetically, making sure that's also ADA compliant, a brand new roof, and allowing that to be a new space that our community has traditionally used to some regard, but it hasn't made itself available to maybe the senior population or other populations that might need those new type of modern accessible opportunities for them. As all I would think might know by now, Terhune, we've been the recipient of a grant of $180,000 to redo Terhune. Similarly to Clinton Street, to make it ADA compliant, regrade it, new playground, which was just awarded at the last meeting, an image that is already outdated, but primarily is what the playground at Terhune will look like, is on the screen now, and then also there'll be pathways and fitness equipment throughout. What you really can't see is, as it was brought up at the last meeting, the swing set, the original plan did not have one that was could accommodate somebody in a wheelchair. We've since gone back and we'll be able to make those accommodations with the vendor. Road improvements. Last year we began the strategic long vision plan of multiple roads being repaired within the borough, including Oak Knoll High Street, sections of Aberdeen, Crestwood, Edgewater, Washington, Clare, Crescent, Oak, MacArthur, Eisenhower Court, Tina, and Sarah. And about 3 of those roads specifically were the recipient of, four. 4 of those roads were the recipient of DOT grants to help offset the funding and the impact to the taxpayer as well. And we expect all of these roads, as some of them have already been either completed or are ongoing, but we expect all of them to be completed by the end of 2026. Fingers crossed. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, enhanced senior spaces. We took building on already the improvements that had been made in the cafeteria, carpeting in there, and then new floor in the gym, and as also HVAC system, which had prevented us from having community events, particularly our senior classes. So now we're able to open it up to seniors. We've had youth nights there, and it's a great use of the space that had been underutilized prior. Okay, so, and this will, to Loretta's question, hopefully some of these will answer your specific question. So some of the things in the budget that changed from this year to last year, thankfully we have some new revenue, which is always a nice thing to be able to share. As we have the retail cannabis dispensaries opening up, there is a 2% tax that is put onto those facilities, and then it remunerates back to the borough. So thankfully, unfortunately, because not unfortunately, that's a poor word, but due to timing, the dispensaries only opened last year in the middle of the year or later, so we can only anticipate the revenue that they brought in during last year in this year's budget. But to date, they've already surpassed that, which is wonderful, and they're already almost surpassing $100,000, and there's 2 more quarters of revenue to bring in. So that will definitely, for the 2027 budget, will be a very nice offsetting to the budget in future years. Insurance savings. Our insurance contract for liability and workman's comp was up in 2026, so we procured bids and quotes from various different providers, and we selected statewide insurance fund, which was the lowest and most responsible, and we saved $46,000 over just this year, and in the perpetuity of the contract it will be much more. Health insurance costs. As those that might recall from last year's budget conversation and leading up to it, we changed our health insurance, the way in which we are providing health insurance to our employees. Prior to this, we were in the state health benefits plan. The state health benefits plan becoming increasingly more expensive. So we were looking for other viable options to save the taxpayers' dollars. So we moved to what is now called the New Jersey Solutions Health Insurance Fund. We started in 2025. It offers the same level of coverage through Horizon, which is what all of our employees had before and still have. So from the employee perspective, very little changed. But from the taxpayer perspective, we have been able to successfully avoid the state health benefit increases that they had last year, which was 16.4%, and this year, which is over 36%. So but however, we are not immune to the increases that health benefits is being seen all over the country. So even with even avoiding 36%, we still had to take on a 14% increase with our health insurance fund, which to my knowledge is the lowest of any health insurance fund. Neighboring towns got 23 or more. So I don't know if there's a lower one, but this is the lowest one that I'm aware of. So that represents across all budget lines, including the water and sewer utility, $593,000 worth of increase to the budget this year. That's a significant, obviously, impact. As you'll see, I did put a note in here, though. Had we stayed with the state health benefits plan, the impact this year would have been almost $1 million more. So we've saved by changing. And then one of the last significant drivers of the budget is our waste and recycling contract was up. We had the borough over 5 years ago went out to bid to procure the contract, the vendor. It was a 3-year contract with the option of renewal for 5 years. We did an assessment 2 years ago when I sort of in the beginning of my tenure here. We did an assessment and it made most sense to continue with the vendor because we were seeing increases like what we're seeing today. So we increased the contract 2 more years to help save the taxpayer dollars. But that, of course, we couldn't increase it anymore beyond 5 years. And the hauler was not able to do it either. So they did, however, participate in the rebid that we had. We had 2 bids this year for the new vendor. The current vendor did not participate in the first one, and our RTS is our current vendor up until May 10th. May 11th will be Jersey Specialized Hauling. Jersey Specialized Hauling was, after the second rebid, was the lowest bidder, and our existing hauler currently, RTS, did bid in the second bidding. However, they were not the most affordable option. So we, as they both were responsible, we are required by law to go with the lowest and responsible bidder. So we have a new contract. Thankfully, it was less than the first bid we had for garbage. So the increase, we bought some time and we went out to bid again. So we're only seeing, we're seeing $195,000 increase to the budget on garbage and recycling collection, where it could have been much larger if we had gone with the first bids. All right. And again, we'll take questions after. An overview of how the pie that is taxes. As you all know, we are the collector of all the tax levies throughout the entities that have a share in that pie. So the school represents about 48% of that check that you give us every quarter. And the borough represents about 31% of that, and the county 9% of that, and the library. They don't have their own levy, but they are part of our budget, but required. Oh, sorry, I might have said the school was 48%, it's obviously 58%. Okay, my time's up. Your time's up, thank you. I'm sure you would be thrilled to have me stop talking. Okay, so I've also included the total budgets for each of the entities, their entire budgets. So for the school district, it's a combination of revenue from both the taxpayers in Matawan and the taxpayers in Aberdeen, as well as additional revenue and grant funding and state funding that they get. The borough, and obviously the largest chunk of that comes from the tax levy, but we do get state aid and other grant dollars, as mentioned. And then the county budget, which incorporates all 53 municipalities within the Monmouth County area, and then the library, that is the total budget that is for Aberdeen and Matawan. And that's a statutory requirement. It's set where we don't really, there's no wiggle room. It's very clearly whatever the number is, it is. And then the library makes do with it and adopts a budget thereafter with the funding that they receive from the towns. All right. Okay, municipal budget overview. This will give you a very, very high level of sort of of the budget this year compared to last year. You'll see it is increasing in total $1.3 million, and largely we discussed some of those significant drivers already. As you can imagine, of course, there are always going to be rising costs to regular maintenance and repairs, as well as contractual obligations, employee raises, and other fringe benefit costs as well. We have tried to, though, put forward a budget that was very modest, very conservative, and respectful of the taxpayers. We know that all of us are struggling. So I commend our department heads. They've done an incredible job of making sure that their asks were realistic. If you were to review the entire budget, you'll see most departments, if not all, their variations of their budgets from last year to this year are single percentage, and some of them even decreased. So they've really done a tremendous job to try to offset some of these other costs that we have no control over for the residents. So I thank them for their hard work. And now I will turn over to Nicole, who we are also very much indebted to because she does the magic in putting this all together. And making sure that the budget makes sense to us that don't have the smarts that Nicole does. So, Nicole, if you wouldn't mind taking the next slide.
Absolutely. All right, so the next slide is the average residential tax for '26. Now, this is solely for residential and solely for Matawan only. This is not all those other taxes that Ryan just spoke on. This is only for us here. So I just put a couple of little things in here about what the total residential assessed valuation is, and it's that 1.4 billion in the upper left that you see, based on how many residential dwellings are in town, and that gives you the average residential assessed value. So the average house in Matawan, the assessed value is about $593,631. And then the tax rate for this year, based on the numbers just spoken, is 8.641%, which that means the average residential tax, if you have an average priced property, you'll be looking at about $3,807.86 for the municipal taxes for your next billing cycle. And then to the right of that, the annual increase from last year to this year is that $264. And then I just kind of broke that down between quarterly and monthly as well. So you'll see those numbers compared to last year, and then the totals, what the average is, both annual, quarterly, monthly. And then below that, again, you'll see where I compared last year's average assessed value, because we have the rolling reassessment in Monmouth County. So last year's average assessed value home was that 554. That's kind of in that bottom center of the screen there, where this year, like I said, is the 593. So the average house is seeing an increase of about $39,000, where the percentage change of the budget is 0.003%. Last year was 0.639. This year is 0.641, so you would think it would be quite minimal. However, because the average has gone up, that's why you're seeing that larger increase. You can do the next slide. And then what I did on this slide is I took 3 homes in town and I put all of the data against that. So you have 3 houses where you have what the assessed value is for 2026, the assessed value for 2025, what the change in assessment is, and then because of that change in assessment, what the increase for that person's home will be. So of these 3 homes that I found in town, you'll see a change of $304 for one property, $227 for another, and $264 for the third. And you'll see, even again, the assessments on these houses all are various. You have the smallest change being $33,000, the highest change being $45,500. So it all depends what your assessment is on your own home will kind of drive where you see these changes. You know, the bigger the change of your assessment, the bigger difference from prior year to this year. And then I kind of took those same values and I took the either estimated values or what we already know for both the school and the county and the library, and I kind of threw those numbers up in here as well. So if you look to that middle column, it's the final from 25, and then the left one is the estimated for 26, except of course, you know, municipal, we already kind of have that value. The library, we already have that value, but it's the expected for the school and the county is in there as well. And you can see what the difference is year over year on what you can kind of expect to see on your tax bill when you receive it, since you're going to be getting all of these in one place. So the total increase is going to be round about that 701 if you're an average home in town. And then this slide here is just kind of like a breakdown of how the borough is using our portion of your tax dollars. And I kind of took this, you know, there's a document we have to do called the user-friendly budget. I took those categories that are on that user-friendly budget and kind of broke it down to where the money is going into kind of like this pie chart here that you see. And, you know, general government is getting 8.5%. Insurance is 12%, public safety almost 25%, public works 14%. You know, those are kind of the notable ones. There's debt service 16%. Those are kind of all the biggest drivers of the tax dollars, I would say. But there's, you know, a couple of other categories in here, but they're all pretty much 10% or less of that value.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. So that completes our presentation. I'd like to thank Nicole again and also thank John Swisher, our auditor, and Lenny, and the entire firm except Blake Clooney, as well with the Finance Committee chaired by Councilman Ross, Council President Ms. Gunn, and Councilwoman Megan Taraskowitz. It is a long process. We start this with the department heads back in the fall. To bring a reasonable presentation to the Finance Committee, and then we meet early 2026, and for the next ensuing months we work on the budget and try to present what we feel is the most prudent opportunity to fund the critical and essential services that we feel that the residents deserve and expect from the Borough of Matawan. So I will allow the mayor to open it up to any questions.
So the public session is open, so if anybody would like to come up in regards to ordinance 26-11, you may do so now.
This is just the public hearing on the budget.
Correct.
Oh.
Yep. Anyone? No one? Okay. Anyone from the dais? All right. Motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passed.
Don't do this one.
So now,
I also say thank you to Nicole.
you did that.
Need a motion to adopt,
I'll grant her whatever
and
you go
that's a
with.
roll call.
I didn't do anything.
I'll work on the contract.
Let's
with
do
you.
a motion to adopt the ordinance and do a roll call.
Yep. Ordinance 26-11, could I have a motion to adopt?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilperson Gunn?
Yes.
Councilperson DeZayo?
Yes.
Councilperson Silas?
Yes.
Councilperson Reynolds?
Yes.
Councilperson Ross?
Yes.
Councilperson Taraskowitz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Resolution 26-05-2, resolution to read the budget by title only at the public hearing. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilperson Gunn?
Yes.
Councilperson DeZayo?
Yes.
Councilperson Silas?
Yes.
Councilperson Reynolds?
Yes.
Councilperson Ross?
Yes.
Councilperson Taraskowitz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Just this one.
Just to do it at the public hearing, so you would just do it at the public hearing.
All right, so I'm going to open a public hearing on the budget again. Need a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passed.
Again, if anybody would like to come up in regards to the budget? So noted. Motion to close. Open
Motion.
session.
Motion, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passed.
And Resolution 26-05-03, adoption of 2026 budget. Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilperson Gunn?
Yes.
Councilperson DeZayo?
Yes.
Councilperson Silas?
Yes.
Councilperson Reynolds?
Yes.
Councilperson Ross?
Yes.
Councilperson Taraskowitz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Under new business, Resolution 26-05-04, grant agreement between the Borough of Matawan and the State of New Jersey by and for the Department of Environmental Protection Grant Identifier, GC 2024-00057-PO, governing body resolution, Green Communities Community Forest Management Plan Development. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilperson Gunn?
Yes.
Councilperson DeZayo?
Yes.
Councilperson Silas?
Yes.
Councilperson Reynolds?
Yes.
Councilperson Ross?
Yes.
Councilperson Taraskowitz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
And Resolution 26-05-05, payment of bills. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passed.
And at this time, before I open the privilege of the floor, again, each speaker shall be afforded 5 minutes to address the governing body. During the public comment period, members of the governing body shall not engage in dialogue, respond to questions, or interrupt speakers in order to ensure that each speaker is provided their full 5 minutes. The governing body shall withhold comments and responses until the conclusion of the privilege of the floor. At this time, privilege of the floor is now open.
Abby Berg, Broad Street. Someone wise said I wanted to write this down so I wouldn't cuss, so I thought I would follow suit and write down what I had to say. The last meeting I was at, the borough voted to donate a box truck to the Marching Huskies program. We are excited to announce that it has made its way successfully to the high school parking lot adjacent to the band room. The lift on it does need to be repaired, however, thanks to the generous donations from Suzanne Reynolds, Charlie Ross, Anissa Esposito, Mark Bishop, and Daniel Beckelman, the cost for that is completely taken care of, so yay, we don't have to pay for that. Currently, the Marching Huskies staff are working on a design to be approved by the Board of Education that will have the same logo of the marching band, percussion, and winter guard, listing all the state and national champions we have won. Local and national businesses will also have the opportunity to sponsor our program, from an ad in our home show program to even an ad on our new to us box truck. And I will let everyone know when that becomes available. So I'm glad we could all work together. We can make our community great. We can help the kids. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Privilege of the floor? So noted. Motion to close privilege of the floor?
Motion, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passed.
And motion,
I just had one thing I wanted to bring up really quick. A resident had asked me, and I think this kind of goes to you, Ryan, regarding the lakefront, being that it had been mentioned that we're not going to have staff, or at least not fully staffed anymore, right?
Correct. We're hoping that we'll be able to get the kayak kiosk installed for the beginning of the season, so that there wouldn't need to be the traditional hiring of seasonal staff. Yes.
So regarding that, we do have a sign up with ordinance, I think it's 11-1-1, for nobody is able to park up there except for borough officials. But we don't have a handicap spot there, so someone who is wheelchair accessible would have to park on the gravel rock and then cross the street to enjoy the lakefront. So there is ample spots up there, especially without having staff there now. Would we be able to please install one handicap spot for residents?
It's something that we can look into. However, with the Ravine Drive Dam project, I wouldn't want to explore that until after the project is over. As part of the lakefront, not a huge significant part of it, will be taken to widen the road, and there'll be so much going on there. I think it would be imprudent to allow for parking, and the boat launch area will be actually unavailable during certain
I
months.
was thinking, how's that gonna work with the canoes for the summer once they start?
So there'll still be access to the lakefront during the summer months, but the Ravine Drive construction is scheduled to begin hopefully this summer. So I would be uncomfortable making a commitment that there could be. It's certainly something that I think the borough could look into once the dam construction is done.
Okay.
And motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passed.
Have a good
night.
night, everyone.
I want Ryan to say kayak kiosk 10 times.